What's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN Game Scoop. I'm your host, Damon Hatfield. Joining me this week is Justin Davis, Sam Claiborne,
Scoop.
Why did that
like a
take you?
deer in the headlights. He realized he hadn't come up with anything clever to say.
Yeah, I didn't have anything to do. Okay.
And
I got some clever stuff for later in the show, so stay tuned.
And joining us for his first appearance on Game Scoop, a new addition to the IGN editorial team, Philip Mewson, who's been brought on to head up our Nintendo coverage.
Yes. What's going on, everyone?
Philip, welcome to the show.
Yes.
Tell us about your gamer self. You're focusing on Nintendo here for us at IGN, although not exclusively. But what's your favorite game of all time?
My favorite game of all time is actually a Nintendo game, surprisingly, and it's A Link to the Past. That is not only my favorite game of all time, it's my favorite Zelda game, of course.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just have so much history playing that game. It's sort of what got me into playing games very seriously and taking them seriously.
Can you beat it in 5 minutes?
Definitely not. No.
Damon,
Definitely
We have a
can.
video for you.
Philip can
You
stay.
can.
Okay, can stay.
All right.
That's good.
All right, you got the Justin thumbs up.
What's your favorite 3D Zelda game, by the way?
My favorite Ocarina of Time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Cool. And Philip comes from us. He had a very popular YouTube channel that caught our attention. So good.
Like you might have out there. Let us know.
It's true. Yeah, we like to keep tabs on that sort of thing.
Sure.
We've got a great show for you this week. We got to talk about Sony's Paris Games Week conference. We're going to talk about some distressing news about arcade shooters and smaller downloadable arcade games.
very sad.
Yeah.
Is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 okay?
I got bad news for you, Sam.
It still exists.
No!
You can still go back and play it.
But first, we've got about a week of Super Mario Odyssey under our belts.
Oh boy.
At this point. And ironically, the three of us might have played more than Philip just because he was moving over the weekend up to here
Yeah.
to San Francisco.
In
Yeah.
2 weeks, you moved your whole life. But you played a little bit of Mario, right?
Yeah, I'm about I want to say about 120 moons in right now.
There you go.
So I'm not too
Respectable.
Not too far in, I don't think, because I know that there's a lot of post-game.
Well, now, are you trying to play through a bunch of levels, or are you trying to stay in one and get everything?
I started playing as a completionist, trying to get through everything just because I knew that I wasn't working on a review for this game.
So you're in the second level.
Yeah. That's how I started out, but then I really kind of wanted to catch up and get into it and see what it was all about. And so I'm just kind of finishing it as I go, and then I'm going to go back and try and 100% it.
So what kingdom are you on?
I just got past New Donk City, so whatever won that.
And the end of New Donk City is so cool.
Incredible.
So good.
So I have good news for you. It might be bad news, but we're just going to tell you what happens after all of that, and then the ending of the game, and then you'll be caught up with us.
Nice.
Good news.
Don't do that.
No,
Spoil
we
the
won't
whole
do
thing.
that. We won't do that for our listeners
It's
either.
the only time in my life I've cared about spoilers in a Mario game.
Really?
No.
I mean, yeah, I don't think no one cares how Galaxy ended. Like, they're great games, but it's not a game where there was moments or even story.
What about that invisible Mario painting up the town?
Yeah, okay, that's a Sunshine reference.
What's up with that guy?
So I started playing Odyssey Friday night. I beat it Monday night. Probably the shortest amount of time I've ever beaten a Mario game in.
Yeah, I beat it Friday to Sunday.
Yeah, beat it is a little misleading, right?
Well,
because you've
you
seen
finished
maybe 1/4 or 1/5.
That's the thing. You finish the campaign or the story, but then
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
most of the game is the end game content, I think.
There's so much more after the credits roll than I think people expected, and so some games are kind of brought down by their ending. Like Shadow of War, even if you love that game, I don't think there's any denying that it just kind of goes on, and then it doesn't match like the opening of the game. Whereas a game like Mario, I think is elevated by that ending to a degree that I don't want to spoil it for Philip or anybody else out there, but it pays homage to what's come before with Mario while also being fresh and inventive and new. It's really, really wonderful. It's impossible to play with having a big smile on your face, and I absolutely think it elevates the material.
You'll have exactly 700 more things to do.
And then it ends, and then there's so much more
Yeah.
post-game content, entire worlds, new things in old worlds, really unexpected stuff.
So why roll the credits? I don't get it.
Well, I think
Well, nobody finishes games. We talk about that frequently, So actually making it through to the end of the story and seeing the credits doesn't take that much time, as we were just talking about, right?
Yeah,
And then
but
if
so I guess my point is there's a pacing in like Sunshine and Galaxy, which, well, especially 64, which forces you to get a pretty high number of stars before you can move on.
more than half usually.
And like you have to like really figure out some tough puzzles before you move on. And this, it puts all the easy stuff in front of you to get to the end. And you can just knock all that stuff down, and then you go back and do the hard stuff. So I just felt like the pacing and the gates were different, I don't think they're bad. I'm just saying like it was just different. I was just surprised when the credits rolled.
Yeah, that's an astute observation. Like it's easy as heck to beat this. It's sort of the best of both worlds. You get to have the satisfaction of closing the story and experience a certain amount of success, but the game itself is still very long and challenging and interesting, once you dive back in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the replayability factor of it is so amazing, and the fact that they did include so many unlockables and all of those moons. There's over 800 moons, right? But you can, I guess, get up to 999, I think.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's just so much to do, and honestly, like just playing that game just brings so much natural happiness out of me. It just puts me in a good mood, no matter what like I'm doing at the time. If I'm playing it, I just get so excited. So
You
What's
guys
your costume that you?
Yeah,
Mario
seriously.
had?
I like wearing the Mario suit, but I like wearing the backwards hat.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I'll change it up.
That's the
just a little
mechanics
bit.
hat.
I believe so. Yeah.
This is Famicom on it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't buy that one.
I definitely was more excited to play this game than many others, and I have such fond memories of playing Mario games, and I was thinking about them the whole time I was playing. I think that's really cool about it. And Damon, you brought up something when we were talking. You said that you played Mario 64, you had like an entire semester of college.
Yeah, I spent like an entire semester of college playing Mario 64, but I beat Odyssey over a weekend, so it's totally different. But I don't think it's.
But will you continue playing it
Yes,
that way?
that's the thing. I think I could.
interesting.
I think I could play for a couple more months, just collecting moons.
Few moons.
You know,
It's
so it's
great
just-
for the Switch. I don't know if it was a deliberate design decision, but the fact that each moon is just a couple minutes long and there's, over 800 of them makes the game easy to pick up and put down and get 2 or 3 moons.
And a big difference with the pacing between this and 64 is that every time you got a star in 64, you got kicked out of the level.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably like
Really nice not having
artificially stretched out the length of time it takes to play that game.
Have
Philip,
you? I have a question for all you guys, real quick. Have you gotten to an annoying moon yet, or something that's like really hard that you just had to put down and come back to?
Yeah.
Because if you're 100%ing, you probably came up to that before I did, because I was just kind of going to the end, and now I'm like, wow, I'm not gonna be able to beat this. I have to put this down tonight.
Yeah. I've
Have you had that
definitely.
happen?
Yeah, I've run into a few moons where I've attempted to try and get them and then just ended up walking away because it was taking way too long. And I knew that there were probably like, I don't know, 10 or 20 other moons that are so much more easier to get to.
Yeah.
So
I think you're playing it right.
yeah,
I've had there's one puzzle that I couldn't figure out. Like usually it's like, I'll stick with it. Like
All right, real-time game help. Let's do this.
so it's in the desert and it's inside one of like you go in a door and there's puzzles in there. And almost all of them, not every single one, but most of them have like like this is the moon you're trying to get there and then a secret moon. Almost all these internal areas. And it's with the little shades guys, the shade Moai statues. And you put the shades on and it tells you the secret path to follow and you get the moon at the end. But there's another moon in there that I can't find. I don't know where it is. Like you put on the shades and I see the thing and I take them off and I'm sure I'm missing something dead obvious, but I can't figure it out.
So I played that area and I haven't gone back for the second moon.
Yeah.
I'm thinking now it's probably like crouch related. A lot of things are like a little short level that you get under. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer
Could
to
be.
that.
That's a really good guess.
failed you.
That's not something I tried. I tried to do like wall jumps in weird spots.
Yeah. But there's 3 scenes and it makes the invisible
Yep. That's
platforms
the
of lava.
exact room.
What the heck, man?
So
And you're sure there's a second one in there?
I'm pretty sure. Philip mentioned the costumes. It's something I want to go back to. You
Yeah.
know, game development's so interesting because you can't just ask people what they want. If anyone would have asked me, like, hey, do you think you'd have fun dressing Mario in different costumes? Say, no, his costume's iconic. He's got to have the hat and the suit. But there's dozens of them, and they all are completely different, but they all feel distinctly Mario. Like, they still all fit. They did such a good job with them. I'm motivated to collect them all. I have a lot of fun with it. Even the little dialogue in the shop is interesting.
I'd call my wife in every time I got a new one. I was like, look at this.
Yeah, exactly.
This is so cool.
The little snorkel.
Yeah, that was really great. And then sometimes people talk to you and they're like, you're not dressed right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's those puzzles too. And then I had a guy at one point be like, I need a doctor. I'm like, I don't know how to solve this, dude. And then it's like, wait, is there a Dr. Mario costume? And sure enough.
Yeah, there is for sure.
That's not like a late game unlockable or anything. You just scan an amiibo.
That's
and
an
Yeah, it is. It's both, by the way.
You can buy it,
that's,
too.
That's something I learned. Is I thought I was initially annoyed that some of these costumes are locked behind amiibo, but all it does is it lets you get them sooner. They do unlock.
Yeah, you can buy them with regular coins.
Yeah.
This is definitely one game that I found myself using a ton of amiibo for, like all the time. I'm constantly whipping out my amiibo whenever I get a chance to like help me to use those.
Yeah.
I don't know, find those special moons or those special currencies that they have all
So
around.
you did that with both types of hint?
I try to. Yeah. I mean,
I feel
Can
like
the
such
amiibo
an
help you
idiot because
find
I've been
currency?
paying for hints. Yes. And
The
it's
amiibo will find
only-
the coins for you?
only
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
It's
Well,
the
it's
Bowser.
Bowser one.
Yeah, and you scan, and it puts a little purple circle around a coin that you can see through walls.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like
I didn't know that till yesterday.
highlights purple coins that are relatively close.
I was
by.
so annoyed because I have every single Power Moon in the Cap Kingdom, but I'm missing 4 coins, and I'm like, "Where's the batch of 4
Yeah.
coins that I didn't find?"
Yeah, so bring in your Switch and we can scan and back.
I have it. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it.
There's
I will.
also-
I gotta go, Damon.
And every other one tells you the name of a moon, or does it tell you a location too?
Both.
I
Your,
think it tells you.
microphone.
I think it tells you
up?
both.
Oh, you were just facing away from the
Okay,
microphone.
sorry.
I think it tells you both, but I know that there is one. I forget. It's either the Peach amiibo or the Mario amiibo. I think it's the Mario amiibo, the wedding one, where it'll just make you invincible, and you can totally.
I think that's any
abuse
amiibo.
that. Oh, is it really?
Yeah, like you get the hints if you're talking to
Any
Miss
general one that's not part of the Mario set that doesn't give you something specific will turn you invincible.
for a little bit.
I think that's the only way in the game to get the star power.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, that's yeah.
And I think does it play the music?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so
like a
that's-
remix. version.
That's the only way to do that. And I haven't
love the
even seen that.
remixes of.
I just love all the
dungeon
music.
Theme.
I love all the music in the game. I love that there's 8-bit versions of all the themes for when you
Yeah.
go into the 2D sections.
Yeah, there's some jazz, some rock and roll.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
I mean, Zelda was so good earlier this year that I think I've even said on the show, like I was confident that Mario was going to be excellent. I didn't believe it could be in the Game of the Year hunt. And now having played it, I kind of have to walk that comment back. Like, I think Mario I'm enjoying it more than I expected to. And like just the general sentiment around the internet and the office, I think is higher than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
What a delightful, lovely, incredible, surprising game.
I think Zelda's on a completely different level.
Oh,
Really?
man.
You're
I like Mario.
You're confident that you
I
like
think it's a 10 too, but I think Zelda changed Zelda a lot more than Mario changed Mario, and that's what I liked.
I agree with that.
but Mario brought Mario back to Mario.
Yeah, that's good. It needed
Which
that.
I appreciate. Yeah.
for sure. But if Zelda had just done that, it would have been Skyward Sword, and I don't like it very much.
I do think so. I think it's the exact number is kind of a spoiler, so I won't spoil it. But there's more than 800 moons, and I think the game would have benefited from like still have moons everywhere, but only like 600. Like there's one in the Lost Kingdom level that it's just there. It's just a moon.
Oh, totally.
And you just run and
There's
get it.
really easy ones.
And like it's not even a butt stomp. It's just there. Like I genuinely don't know what the puzzle was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And even like the butt stomp ones, it's like I'm a little torn because on the one hand, it enhances that feeling of the world just being littered with stuff for you to do. But when there's literally no puzzle or challenge to it, I'm kind of like,
Yeah, but that doesn't happen very often.
no. But that's why like take those 100 moons out,
Yeah.
and you don't need them.
Yeah. What do you think of the graphics?
I haven't stopped to think of the graphics. I think they're like exactly what I expect them to be.
I've played primarily in handheld mode just because I've been moving so much, so I haven't been able to actually dock my Switch on the television. But from what I've played of it, I think it's probably one of the best looking Switch games out there right now. I don't think the graphics are quite as good as Breath of the Wild.
I agree with you.
I like that style a little bit better, but just from that aspect alone, I think it's incredibly impressive.
Yeah,
And
I think the game starts out looking really strong and ends really strong, but there's a couple worlds in the middle that are a little lackluster. I think like the Luncheon Kingdom is just kind of like nah.
It's the worst kingdom in the game.
yeah.
I mean, I think it's still
everybody
fun.
agrees that there's too much lava.
And even the little lava man you get is not very fun.
Yeah. Is that a Podoboo?
That was I don't know,
know.
but
That's just the the normal fire in Super Mario Brothers that
think
the
so.
jump.
they're called
Is that-
Podoboos.
Yeah.
I have never heard that word in my life.
Oh really?
I have noticed though that like I think in handheld mode the anti-aliasing is like a little bit more intense. It's like
is.
a little bit worse than when you're playing docked, and for me that's noticeable.
Does that mean you see Jags?
Yeah, like on the edges and like the view distance and stuff like that. So
Wow.
Yeah, I switch back and forth sometimes, even in my own living room, just based off how I want to be laying on my couch.
Yeah.
And so I got to seen that firsthand too.
I haven't touched it portable yet. I just haven't.
It's still
undocked
great, but
it.
it is different.
I was just super worried about the motion controls. I think
Yeah,
that's like
that's-
a really bad decision that was made.
Well, but I hardly ever used the motion controls.
Oh,
even playing on the Pro controller.
I do.
You
I
start
shake-
using them when you have to do some crazy collection later. To do that, you know how it has a homing.
I shake to home Cappy all the time.
Yeah.
That's how I use
Okay,
it.
yeah, I just haven't.
Like if
never
you
done
can
that.
get near 3 purple coins and then shake, it'll get them all.
I see.
And there's some that you have to use it for. You can't really get to them unless you go like one at a time and risk it over and over again.
I'm at
for the longest
125 moons, I want to point out. But
425.
I've almost exactly that amount. I'm in the low 400s.
More around like 250 for me.
Yeah, for the longest time with the motion controls, I thought like there's a gesture where you have to swing both Joy-Cons to the left or to the right, and that causes Mario to spin his hat around. But I guess you can actually make him do that just by wiggling the analog stick and then pressing the throw hat button. So I don't know. I wish that stuff like that was a little bit more detailed, like in the actual like manual or like inside the game options control settings. But that's just Nintendo's way, I think, of encouraging us to use things like motion controls and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
They really want to encourage us to use motion controls.
Oh, yeah.
For a decade now.
What were you going to say?
I don't know.
ZGM time?
Yeah, well.
I was going to gush more about how much I'm enjoying the game.
No.
We'll do that for save it for the next month.
Yeah.
I do like it's the first game in a long time, maybe since Zelda, that I'm losing sleep over, and it's because of that bite-sized nature. I mean, even though I said they should take a few of them out, and I stand by that. Like it was late last night. I'm losing sleep. Said I gotta go to bed. Yeah. Okay, like I'll get that moon over there, but then I find like 3 more moons on my way there. Before I know it, I have like 10 more, and at some point you got to turn the switch off and walk away.
Yeah, Super Mario Odyssey is an incredible game. It is a GameScoop recommended game, and I think one that we will definitely be talking about come Game of the Year discussion time.
Yay.
Let's move on to Sony. Sony had a conference this week from Paris Games Week. Sony promised a big show. They said E3 was only half the story. Dun, dun, dun.
It was only half the trailers, apparently.
Yeah.
There was a lot.
I thought the conference ended up being a little bit lackluster just because it was really lacking big new announcements. Here's how I would describe Sony's conference. It was like, thank you for joining us today, everybody. Remember these games that we've already told you about? They're still coming. Thank you for coming, everybody.
But we're not going to tell you when.
Yeah.
No, it was low on announcements and news, but heavy on just another look at games that I want to see more of. I mean, I wasn't disappointed by like just seeing a little bit more of Shadow of the Colossus, just seeing a little bit more of
we got to
I'm
see
fine with that.
We got some gameplay of Shadow of the Colossus. There was only one new announcement. It's what Sucker Punch has been working on called Ghost of Tsushima.
Excuse me, Damon.
I'm sorry?
Guacamelee 2.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
that was the separate thing. I was going to mention that too.
hyped for
And
that.
Spelunky too. Like,
And
which
it has
I am
4-player
genuinely
co-op.
excited about. Yeah.
Yeah, Spelunky 2.
Yeah, I liked Guacamelee a lot too. So getting
Not coming to
Guacamelee
Vita,
2 is
though,
awesome.
unfortunately. Spelunky 2
Yeah.
or Guacamelee 2, right?
Which
They're
one?
not coming to Vita?
Yeah, unfortunately, right?
Well,
or is that just still not been announced?
yeah, I don't know if they've announced like all the platforms.
They and to intentionally spite the Vita, they wouldn't announce it at their own show.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to look into that.
Sony definitely did not mention the word Vita once.
Yeah.
during
What's
its
up with that? Like, I was joking, but only on behalf of the Vita. Like, that's really, really
But
strange.
it's been like
We
that
all
for a
know
while.
what's up with that, right?
I know. And they've even gone on the record now and said, like, we don't think there's a future in console
Or
handheld
gaming,
gaming. Yeah.
Yeah, they ceded it to mobile, they say. But
They need
yeah,
Switch.
Did you Ghost of Tsushima seems cool? A samurai game from Sucker Punch, who makes open world games like Infamous.
Yeah. If it's like a Red Dead Redemption, but in like feudal fantasy samurai times, that'd be cool.
It could be them answering what Assassin's Creed fans have been asking for years, right? They've been wanting an Assassin's Creed game set in feudal Japan.
Yeah, I mean, that's a setting that gamers are hungry to explore in a big AAA game, and there's been some attempts at it in the past, and I don't know that anyone's ever really delivered a satisfying take on it in a big sort of AAA open world way.
Yeah.
Now, Okami was a cool fantasy game set in like a fantasy Japan area, which I really liked.
There was the giant enemy crab game. What was it? Genji, maybe?
Yeah,
I
that
don't
was
even-
historical.
Goodness gracious, I don't even remember.
Genji was the giant enemy crab.
It might not have been. I may have misspoke, but
That was a long time
That was
ago.
another attempt at that.
I hope that's not 20 questions.
Yeah, no, it seems like this is more of a realistic
Yeah.
feudal Japan setting, not like
It's
fantasy.
certainly cinematic. Like it looks like, not like kung fu movies really, but like this kind of, there's this beauty to it that looks like Kurosawa or something. And I really like, there's one scene where it's like inside a building, and then there's like frames, these like flowering trees in the background. And it looks like a movie screen or something, but it's just the window. It's so amazing looking.
Yeah, it's cool.
Man.
And that answers a question people have been wondering for a long time, which is what Sucker Punch has been up to since Infamous Second Sons.
Yep.
They do good work, so that's pretty cool.
Yep.
We got another trailer for The Last of Us Part 2, and I guess it's safe to say that has proved to be mildly controversial. It's very violent. If you haven't watched it, it's just very, very gruesome. We actually got an email about this trailer, and this email comes from Big Tony style.
Hey!
He says, did The Last of Us 2 trailer go too far in the violence portrayed? It's become a point of controversy, and I'm not totally sure where I stand on it. I'd say a lot of games include some level of violence as a core mechanic, which the ESRB rates accordingly, but trailers aren't rated. So how far is too far?
So he's talking about the marketing specifically. Yeah, so I mean, to clarify, M-rated games, look, that's in bounds. Make it about whatever you want.
Yeah.
Make it as violent as you want, and people can decide for themselves whether that's too far. Like, we can't police art. But in the marketing itself, to have, hundreds of people in a crowd and it's on a big stage and it's being live streamed to 250,000, to me, that's a little bit different discussion, and maybe a little bit of discretion is required there. Or it's odd, even for an M-rated heavy game, to lean into that in your promotional material. Like, that's the way that you want to, present or re-reveal your game to the world.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I guess there was also, even for the first Last of Us game, there was a particularly gruesome E3 demo that some people took issue with as well.
That's the first time that I can remember in my life sort of feeling out of step with like, he's like, an enemy gets his face blown off by a shotgun or gets choked out, I think. And then the whole crowd cheers and erupts. And I'm like, that was kind of gross. Like, I didn't feel, that wasn't my reaction to that moment at all.
Sam, what'd you think?
I've heard in the office a pretty good discussion point with this, where people are saying that, like, I want to know, like, what the story is behind the violence before I see it, and like, hey, like, if I'm not even attached to these characters, if it's not even the two main characters, then like, what's going on here? Like, what is this trying to tell me about the game? That the world is crappy and that people are awful to each other? Like, I already knew that. It doesn't add anything.
Yeah.
But
There's no
like,
context for it.
yeah, it's so it just makes me think, like, they're just trying to make this game as dark and gritty feeling as possible ahead of launch. But like, all that aside, I don't even want to see any of that. I just want to see the game. I want to see what I'm doing in it.
Yeah.
Because I think that, like, I have no idea what that game is going to be. It could be a choose your own adventure game at this point. I don't know. Am I going to be shooting things over and over again?
Probably.
Yeah, I hope so. Am I going to be jumping?
You're going to be lowering ladders down from up high.
exactly.
Jumping on racks.
That's what I got out of the trailer, was that they were really trying to set the tone for what the game is going to be. But I feel like at the same time, a lot of Last of Us fans, or even just fans of Sony, know what the Last of Us world is like already. So maybe they're just trying to appease that audience. But I do think, it is sort of weird that they're really projecting that trailer or showing that trailer to, like, live streaming it to 250,000 plus people. Like, who knows who's watching that? It's sort of a moral type of issue, I guess.
I guess movies have red band trailers, right?
Right.
I guess there isn't really an equivalent for video games.
No.
Just do whatever they
But it is also just a cutscene. Like, it wasn't even
That's
cut
what
like a trailer.
I also want to point that out. It may not be accurate to call it a trailer. If that's just a scene from the game, it's just a scene.
There's a movie called Reservoir Dogs. Maybe you've heard of it.
Have.
A character gets their ear cut off, and in your head you can probably remember what that looks like, but you don't see it. The camera pans away, right?
Well,
really?
there is a cut of the movie that does include it.
Sure, but I mean, I don't
Gross.
think that's not the version that I saw, and I don't know that that's like the commonly.
Yeah,
no,
it's like on the DVD release,
yeah.
Later on.
And whereas Last of Us, you see, I mean, it's not a spoiler to spoil this cutscene. Like, a character gets their arm broken with a hammer, and like the camera holds on it.
Yeah.
And like, that's a deliberate choice that the scene director made, or like, possibly that'll change when the game's released. But like, that's the state that it's in now, and the state that they chose to show it. So it's like, even in like the moment to moment depiction of this violent, like, it's a harrowing scene, and they're introducing these new characters that are obviously in peril. Like, I understand all that, but even the specific choices that they made to hold on moments that maybe you would have, evoked in some other way was interesting to me.
And I was just talking about this with Wolfenstein. It has similar scenes, and I thought, I'm not going to go into it all again, but I thought it was really cool that you can always pan your camera away in Wolfenstein.
Yeah, because
don't
you
have to
control,
look at
like,
it. That was so clever.
Yeah.
That was cool. But like, we all, I mean, I know you like gore a lot in
yeah,
movies and stuff,
I do.
and it's really interesting. And like, I have nothing against it. So like, that's not why I think anybody here is really taking issue with that game. It's just like, it seemed like a weird choice for like, here's more Last of Us, get excited, everybody. And then it was like, ouch.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Like, if that's a scene that's 90 minutes into the game, I have complete confidence. Like Naughty Dog is one of the premier developers working in video games, and no one is really telling stories on the way that they are, in my opinion.
Totally.
So I trust them that scene in context makes sense, but out of context, I had a hard time.
Weren't you just saying too how good you felt playing Mario the whole time? Like I know people like it's okay to not feel good while playing Last of Us, right? Like you can totally play these games and not feel like you're having a fun, good time, but it's just a different experience. I think that's really cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, some people watch horror movies because they like feeling scared, right? So it's like kind of the same thing or same sort of concept for games. I feel like maybe you don't want to feel like you just got your arm broken, but you like sort of getting that sort of shock, adrenaline rush while you're playing.
Sure.
So
Yeah, for me, the violence doesn't bother me, but I agree. Like without any context, without knowing anything about these characters, if the purpose of the trailer or the early scene is to build interest in the game and get people excited for it, it didn't have that effect on me.
But it totally worked because we're talking about it here on Games.
Well, yeah, but like, I mean,
And it does
but
achieve-
doesn't,
Congratulations.
But like, I didn't pre-order the game. Like my
That's a good
feeling,
point, yeah.
my feeling about The Last of Us Part 2 is exactly the same as it was before I saw that trailer. It's just like, yeah, I hope it's good, but like, it's not like I see that trailer and now I'm sure I'm gonna play it.
They have to add a jetpack.
Yeah,
They have to
definitely
add a
needs
jetpack.
Jetpacks and everything, just in every game, period. It achieves the purpose of widening the scope of, like, when Last of Us came out, I don't think that's a game that any of us expected to get a sequel, but now that they've introduced new characters, seemingly a new setting, it plants a flag in the ground and says, look, like, this series can be about something else other than what was sort of the narrow scope of what was established in the original game.
Yeah, for sure.
Splatterhouse 4.
It's time. It's time for Splatterhouse 4. A couple other big games to mention from Sony's Paris Games Week conference. They showed off a new trailer for Frozen Wilds, expansion for Horizon Zero Dawn, which is out next week. And I think a bunch of us are going to be playing that over this weekend. So I think the review for that's going to be early next week. Is that right?
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, but right before it comes out.
And that's actually, it's cool that it's actually here because we were worried that that game was going to, or that expansion was going to be delayed.
That new trailer was cool.
Yeah.
I like
really
seeing
pretty.
the idea of new dinosaurs, but also just I think it just might be a hard area, which would be cool because I like the difficult battles in that game better than anything
for
else.
sure. We did see another big gameplay demo of Shadow of the Colossus, which looks really cool, and I think we have a preview either up.
played it? Yeah,
Marty
played it. We have a preview up soon or now.
Yeah.
I think.
You like that game?
I love Shadow of the Colossus.
There we go.
It's my favorite PS2 game.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they also just sort of like mumbled out the release date of February 6th. Like they showed their
Let's forget that
trailer
one.
at during their conference, but the trailer didn't include the release date. For
No,
some
it was in a mailing a little bit
It
later.
was weird. That was a strange choice. Spelunky 2, like we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Very, very excited about
What's
that.
different?
We don't know yet.
It's the most excited I've ever seen Andrew Goldfarb about anything in any context.
He walked it back later.
Really?
Yeah, because we'll have to have him on to talk about it.
Yeah.
But also, like, you could continue playing Spelunky forever. So, like, Spelunky 2 should be interesting.
Yeah, it's like I would argue that Spelunky is a perfect game. Like you say, that can be played forever. So it will be interesting to see what they've done with Spelunky 2. There was a trailer, but they didn't show any gameplay.
They already did jetpacks.
That's true.
In that sense, it's an odd candidate for a sequel, right? Like the original is so complete in every way that, like, where do you take it from there? But Mossmouth is one of those developers that I trust. They have the confidence in themselves to move on to other projects if they want to or feel like they need to. So for them to revisit it, they obviously have something in mind that
for sure.
they believe that there's somewhere else they can take that formula.
Yeah. Who knows how far out that one is, but I'm definitely excited for it. And then, like, part of the reason why I thought the conference was so underwhelming this week is because there's a bunch of big games that we know Sony has coming that were just not mentioned at all. Games like Days Gone, which is at the last 2 E3s.
I was almost sure that The Last of Us
A lot of people
scene
did.
was going to be
Yeah.
Days Gone. I was like, which one is this?
Yeah, we
But
couldn't.
it did say
tell
Sony Studios. So
Yeah.
I didn't see that part, though.
I wonder if Days Gone has kind of had a lukewarm reception. And like you said, people are mistaking it for Last of Us Part 2 and vice versa.
Yeah.
I wonder if that game is being retooled or reworked at all.
I don't know.
I mean, I have a feeling
What are you
since
doing?
we haven't seen it, we haven't seen it in a little while. So I mean, I'd assume that they're probably taking a look at all of the reception,
Yeah.
the criticisms that it has received, and probably doing something to make it look a little different or whatever. But obviously that's just speculation. So
yeah, for
we'll
sure.
see.
We should say, we're being a little bit hard on Sony and their showing and not being more exciting, but other companies showed off nothing at Paris Games Week.
That's
so
true. That's true.
we got a little bit more on God of War, got a little bit more on Shadow of the Colossus. So it's a little bit tough to. Maybe that's a sign that it's better to say nothing than have sort of a so-so showing. But Microsoft and Sony didn't have.
They're also they don't have a big
Microsoft
first
and
party
Nintendo,
fall lineup. So it's like
Yeah.
I think it's cool that I'm excited about the games I'm excited for again right now, even though there's nothing out.
Yeah, but I could have used release dates for God of War or Spider-Man or
I did like that.
Spider-Man stuff looked good.
I did like that Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's cool. Yeah, we found out that Mary Jane is playable in that game. That's pretty cool. Nothing on Death Stranding, nothing on Final Fantasy VII. Who the hell knows what's going on with that game? And nothing on Wild, which is a game that looks really cool, but we haven't seen in 2 years since Sony's last Paris Games Week conference in 2015.
Wow.
That's a Michel Ancel game. But moving on, Housemarque is the developer of games like Resogun, Nex Machina, Super Stardust HD, Dead Nation, bunch of games. The recently released Matterfall. So they're known for creating like arcade shooters. Basically, that's their thing.
They even recruited some classic arcade talent to work on
Nex Machina, Eugene Jarvis
Yep.
from Robotron.
Robotron fame and Defender.
Yeah, for sure. So like that's their thing. That's what they're known for, and they do it really well. Maybe they're the best in the world at it. But they announced this week to their fans on a blog post on their site that they're getting out of the arcade shooter business.
Yeah, the headlines like arcade games are dead, and I know you're gonna get into it, but the tone, like I genuinely thought it was some kind of stunt, and they were gonna be like, wouldn't that be some horrible future announcing Super Stardust 2?
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's where I thought the blog post was heading, and then it's
know,
not.
it's crazy.
Like they
So
just
it's like-
announced they're not doing well.
They say economically it doesn't make sense because people don't buy their games. People play them
So,
for
like,
free.
Their games are generally well reviewed.
Yeah.
Nex Machina has better reviews than Destiny 2.
And tons of people play them
Well, because
because they're free.
They get
because
given
they
away.
eventually get given away with like
Yeah.
PlayStation Plus, and that's where the bulk of their audience is. So they in a quote to Games Industry, the CEO of Housemarque said the 10 plus years that we've been mostly working on smaller, downloadable, arcade-inspired console games has come to an end. We did our best. If you make a better twin-stick shooter, we'll look at it and say, wow, you guys are good. We did something that very few people can exceed. We made the best game we ever made according to Metacritic, and I think we all feel the same. That's Nex Machina. He continues, there's the thought that we're a bruised champion getting out of the ring, still with the belt, but we'll have to recover for quite a long time.
Wow.
Maybe move to another weight class or something like that. And it said their most widely played game was Resogun, but that was a game that was there given away to players at the launch of PlayStation 4.
Yeah, I played that game.
That game was really cool.
Everybody played that game.
Yeah.
I hope they go on to make a single player Star Wars campaign.
Ooh. Yeah, no, Housemarque, here's what you do. Just put loot boxes in your game.
Yeah, well, I mean, you joke, but it does kind of sound like they're going to make a game as service next. A few more good quotes. He says, we know from those numbers that quite a lot of people have played those games, but I think it's more that they don't want to pay for them. They expect to get them for free. Actually, Super Stardust HD sold more for PlayStation 3 10 years ago when it had a fraction of the owners that PlayStation 4 has now with Nex Machina. So maybe those people have just moved on. They are not active in the market anymore. The core thing is that there is no paying audience for games like this, or we can't reach them, and I don't know how those people can be reached if they haven't heard about our games already.
Sad.
Yeah.
I think the last really, arcade experience, I was trying to think about other companies doing this, and Namco does. And they made,
what?
they did a couple of their classic games remade, including all the Pac-Man CDX
talking about,
stuff.
Yeah.
And they just did one, which wasn't as
Invaders,
popular,
too.
right? But yeah, Space Invaders they did, and they did a Galaga. And I really like those revisiting of arcade things, but nothing was better than that Pac-Man game. And of course, like what's the Xbox twin stick
Wars.
shooter? Geometry Wars, yeah. And really, I am thinking like the popularity of those is not really what it used to be.
There was a little bit of an arcade resurgence that Housemarque was able to ride that wave, and then it seems like it did kind of come to an end on its own in some ways. I
Steam has some stuff that's like that.
That's true. There is a
What's
market
the one
for
that
stuff on
Chloe
Steam.
gave a really high score to? That's the first person
Well, she liked Devil Daggers a lot.
Devil Daggers, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I kind of wasn't considering Steam. I don't know. I mean, he has the numbers, so I completely believe their CEO. But to lay the blame for that on PS Plus feels a little like everyone was so excited about Geometry Wars and Super Stardust, and it feels like the conversation just kind of moved on just naturally over the next decade. Genres ebb and flow, like it's always been that way.
Yeah. I guess it should be noted that the kind of games that Housemarque is making, they're kind of making the premium versions of those games.
That's true.
The $20 versions.
Yeah.
Whereas there are other people making stuff like Enter the Gungeon. That's also a top-down twin-stick shooter, but it's with pixel art and it's more economically priced. So maybe people are more willing to pay $5 or $7 for that type of game.
Oh, there's a bunch on the Switch that are simpler games. Like what's the one called? Like Everyday Shooter or something.
Well, that was a
that is
Space
PS3
game.
port. I love that game.
Oh yeah. That's what it is, yeah.
Yeah, the pricing on the Switch is a little all over the place right now because you'll get some really great, fully 3D games. Like this one game, Perception, just came out like a day or two ago. But I believe that's also a game that's available on like PC, and Steam, and stuff. But that's on the Switch for $15.
It's more expensive.
I'm not sure what the Steam price is.
Yeah.
But I know that like I'm comparing it to a game like, for instance, 88 Heroes. Which is like $40, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the pricing is just kind of up and down depending on what games you're looking at. So
Do you think things like PlayStation Plus and Games with Gold has trained people to just wait until eventually this game will be free?
Yeah, I mean, or game bundles. You know,
bundles.
Indies
like
always
Steam.
complain about being impossible to make
Steam sales.
You know, the value of a game is definitely in danger as of 2017.
But I guess it was my understanding that with something like PlayStation Plus, Sony was subsidizing these developers for giving away their games for free.
Paying for the right to give it away on PS Plus.
Maybe not paying the developer the full price of the game, but 75% of it or something. Yeah. But
That's how it is.
But apparently, if the economics still aren't working out for Housemarque that way, I don't know. That's telling.
I thought it was interesting to just make this announcement at all. Like other developers, you
Yeah,
don't have
just
a
make a new
developer.
game.
You know, like the Sly Cooper.
We're doing something different with our
the
next
Sly
game.
Cooper team's not like, guys, the mascot shooter, the mascot platformer is dead, and unfortunately it didn't work for it was an interesting decision to go out so public facing instead of just like have that conversation internally and come back in a year with your new game. I don't know, it was odd.
Yeah, I mean, I wish somebody would do that for music games and start over.
Like Harmonix saying, "Hey, look, guys, sorry, rhythm games are dead."
It was interesting how that died that same way. The height was so much higher.
Yeah.
And then the final quotes from the CEO of Housemarque says, "That also leads us to another kind of model, games as a service. The industry is moving more toward multiplayer experiences with strong, robust communities."
I just want Geometry Wars 3.
We talk about this too much.
There was Geometry Wars 3.
There was?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay.
You're part of the problem.
Okay, what I meant was another one.
Yeah.
I guess I would.
Another Geometry Wars 3.
What was Geometry? Oh, that was the one with the cube, like the sets of levels. Yeah. I played that. Sorry, I meant just another new one.
But for free.
That was a bad goof. Bad goof on my part.
These are signs of the times, ladies and gentlemen.
Indeed.
But on a happier note, we got we had many amazing single-player games this year. We just talking about Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild, and I even like Shadow of Mordor and
Horizon,
Assassin's Creed, Horizon. Yeah, so
Wolfie.
yeah, we're not for want of
Dishonored.
yeah, for those
Uncharted
experiences. Let's check in with the listeners.
Hey, listeners.
Remember, you can always reach us at the email address gamescoop@ign.com, just like Dan from Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu. He
Did
said,
you do French in high school?
no.
Very well done.
He says from Montreal, Quebec. And he challenged me. He said, good luck pronouncing that, Damon. I think I nailed it. Dan says, I have always loved video games, but I remember a point in time when I was fed up with them. They all felt like I was walking down the same corridor, shooting the same pixels, so that I could get to the end of the same half-baked story. So I turned to a pen and paper RPG by Palladium Books called Rifts. You know that one?
I don't know riffs.
Suddenly, the fire had once again ignited in my belly.
Oh, boy.
Unlimited character development, complex stories with overarching plots, objectives that could be faced by numerous angles. But best of all, if my character saw a closed door, I knew it could be opened and was not merely a texture added to decorate the wall.
Is this a single player game?
The possibilities were endless. If it's a tabletop game, probably not.
We just did an article on the best tabletop single player
Yeah,
games.
but not RPG.
It was the saddest article I've ever written.
You know what? I don't feel, I like the comments where it was like a lot of haters in these comments. You think you're better than someone that sits and plays a video game by themselves for 8 hours? Well, you're not. Like, we're all nerds and we're all in this together. And I thought that was a pretty good comment.
Yeah.
Dan says, then came 2 words that brought me back to the handheld controller, open world. Whether it's escaping the cops in GTA, raiding an outpost in Far Cry, or performing a sweet kill in Assassin's Creed, I know that my success depends not on my ability to mash buttons, but rather on the sharpness of my mind. They gave me something I could only find with pen and paper. Insert buzzword, player agency. I know what you're thinking. The games I mentioned all have texture doors with nothing behind them, but I know we will get there. I noticed something that happens every time I start a new open world game. I get anxious. How do I play this one? Story first with side objectives after. Will I even be interested in doing them at that point?
Board game scoop.
Yeah.
Side quests first to get them out of the way, but will that make me too overpowered once I start the story? Maybe I should do one section of the map at a time. Maybe I should alternate between sections. How does the game director want me to play? How do I want to play? I know this all sounds crazy, but if I'm to invest 100 hours of my life in a video game, I want the best experience possible. Am I the only one asking myself these questions? How do you guys approach an open world game?
Well, it's funny. We just talked about this with Mario.
Right.
And we asked Philip, how did you play this differently than us?
Yeah.
And we all have different play styles. And I'm jealous a little bit of the way people are playing by collecting everything before leaving the areas. Now I feel like I missed out a little bit.
Yeah, it's fun. I used to be a total completionist before, like with open world games. Like I 100%ed the first 2 Assassin's Creed games. So like I really love collecting everything. I love collectathons. But at the same time, like now that I'm covering games, I don't have a chance to actually like do that and sit there all day and play them. So it's a totally different scope for me now.
That's true.
Yeah.
We play games in a different way than anybody else.
Yeah.
So we're probably not good at advising
Well, it
people how to
depends.
play them.
I
Well,
think it totally
reviews you have
depends.
to play so fast.
Reviews are totally different.
Yeah.
But the 3 of us here don't review games that often.
Rude. I just reviewed DuckTales.
I said that often.
That was months ago. And it was DuckTales.
Usually I get to play games at my own pace. I would say I really like collecting things and doing side quests in open world games, but I'm not like exhaustive about it. So like in Mario Odyssey, in each world I would find every moon that you could see, like with a quick glance around the area.
I like that classification of like the ones you can kind of make out. Like I can solve this one right now.
Yeah, I can do this one right now.
Yeah,
and then,
I
'cause
should've done
just knowing that I'll come back to it later for the real digging deep into each level.
The sand area was especially bad for that.
Yeah.
Because it's like that's a big area. And like every part of it had like a little thing. It's like, okay, I can go into this building and it's like, there's 3 things in here. And
Get those Jaxies,
just,
though.
it just goes on and on and on.
Zip zop all around the stage.
Yeah, it does. That is a fast way to get around. But I wish I've read on other sites before people that say like I beat this game. Here's how you should play it. I always like that angle.
Yeah.
I have mixed feelings about the collectibles, as I do almost every topic. So not everyone gets to own or play a lot of games every year, especially if you're a younger gamer or whatever your circumstances. So in that instance, if you really, really love Shadow of War, it's nice that there's a easy way for them to just put more Shadow of War in their Shadow of War. Like if you just want to go through the story and kill a bunch of orcs, great. But if you either want or don't have much of an option, you need to spend 100 hours with that game. They found an economical way to pack 100 hours of gameplay into that box. So that's like the upside. But the downside is all those extras aren't as good as the rest of the game. And so I think about opportunity costs a lot. Shadow of War doesn't exist in a vacuum. I don't want to collect those stupid icons when I could be playing Wolfenstein or could be playing Mario. Sure. Like you have a really, really, really good game that they stretch too thin. I think happens often. Like collecting junk isn't as fun as doing the main like core thread of the game typically. So that's what I think about.
Except that collecting junk is the core thread of Mario Odyssey, right?
Well, but it's a little bit, it's puzzle solving and traversal, and it's not. There's more to it than like if there's a power moon in a cage. That's a little,
I think you're getting at something where you said you had mixed feelings about it. There are bad collectibles and good collectibles.
Yeah,
and there are games. I do think Mario is about collecting, just like Donkey Kong 64 is or whatever, Banjo-Kazooie. But there's games that do it in such a cool way, like Crackdown, where it's like it's a meaningless amount of things to pick up. but it's still really fun getting them.
Well, even all the
And,
Korok
like,
seeds have a little puzzle tied behind
Totally.
them.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a little, I think I described it as like a punctuation mark on the end of a little adventure. Like I'm going to go up to the top of this hill, and since there's 900 of them, you know, you're guaranteed to just get a little thrill and then move on to the next one.
But that's really smart. And then there's the games that put, as a guide writer, this really bothers me. They just put all the collectibles on the map for you.
Just put all that junk everywhere.
And then you just run to them and pick them up. Like, why am I doing that? And I do like in Shadow of War, they actually add like a little story scene or something. So it's like, you know, at least there's some payoff. But when it's just Assassin's Creed has been guilty of this. Not, I don't know if it is this time.
Far Cry 2.
Yeah. Where it's just like, it's collectibles on the map. You just run to them and get them. And it's like, why am I doing that? Like, make me platform or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's never the most fun part of the game. I think we enjoy it as gamers because we're all a little bit OCD. I guess I don't want to use that term flippantly, but we all like, you know, checkboxes and 100%ing things and completing things. So it appeals to that part of a gamer nature, but the actual act of getting them in most games, I don't find that satisfying. And I think, you know, if you have the budget or the ability to play more games, you're probably better off, you know, moving on to a new, like some directed experience like a Wolfenstein, for example.
This is an interesting question. Do you guys ever ask yourself, how does the game director want me to play?
Yeah, I think about that all the time.
Really? I don't think I ever do.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I like trying to break games in interesting ways. So
yeah.
it's like, I really like games like Dishonored where they give you paths that seem like they're not the right path, but then it turns out they built the game for that.
Yeah.
Exactly. The thrill of you think you're doing something unintended,
Yeah.
but then the game was built to support that behavior.
Yeah, and it
is
rewards
so
you
cool.
or punishes you for it in a cool way. I love that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like I always instinctively, whenever I start a level, like every time I go through a pipe or something or enter a new place in Mario, I'll always spin the camera around and
Yep,
turn
me
around
too.
just to check.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So
All right, it is November, which means it's time to check in with the Retro Magazine. Right?
is
Ultraman's on the
November.
cover.
It is November now, and we have here the November 1991 issue of Electronic Gaming Monthly with just a terrible cover. This has got to
Wait,
be one of the just all-time worst
It's
covers.
just a really bad off-model.
Yeah, well, it's like
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
it's not off-model from the comics. It's just like
okay.
it's way zoomed in and like
Grainy.
There's only one full turtle.
They're not like centered in the frame.
This guy's just totally cut off and like
it almost looks like it was colored with chalk.
Yeah,
It's like so
it does.
grainy.
Yeah, you can see like the colored pencil
It's
lines.
low res,
And then Ultraman's in the corner.
Kids
Kids love Ultraman.
Got on the cover of the magazine.
91. This is farther back
know,
than we
yeah.
I don't even know what Ultraman is. He fights Godzilla?
No, it's a different universe.
It is?
different
Okay.
movie studio. Yeah.
All right.
So right off the bat, I like the ad on the inner cover here. It says, "From now on, there will only be one superpower."
Okay. What's the superpower, Damon?
Konami for the Super NES.
Is that Super Castlevania 4? Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Gradius 3, Legend of the Mystical Ninja is all in there.
Nice.
Dude, Legend of the Mystical Ninja underrated.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
SNES
true.
game.
And,
Tara loves that game.
You know, so this is a time when Konami was really big into video games. And fun fact, Konami just announced that their profits this year are up 25% over last year.
Because they stopped making games?
Apparently.
Making all those pachinko.
Yeah, but and maybe mobile stuff too.
I don't know.
I just was reading this. It was pretty interesting. But yeah, they did change their business a lot.
Here we go. We jump to the letters section. This is from Robbie Carbone in Helmet, California. I didn't even know he had a helmet.
Just like a helmet?
Yeah.
Like a space helmet?
Helmet.
I like that.
Dear EGM.
Well met, helmet.
Dear EGM, I was wondering, what is better, Genesis, Turbo, or the Super NES?
What's Genesis Turbo?
What?
These are three different options.
Genesis,
Oh,
TurboGrafx,
Turbo
Super
Graphics,
Nintendo.
I get it.
EGM responds, way back in issue 8, we posed the question as to whether the TurboGrafx or Genesis is better. Now the SNES is out and hundreds upon hundreds of letters have come in, similar to the one above.
With art.
Most players are very opinionated, usually in the direction of the system that they own. Below are three to start off the great
These old
debate.
timey people are silly and unrelatable.
How do you feel? What are your opinions? I'm just going to read one of these letters. So this is
Wait,
from,
they turned the question around?
yeah. So now they've presented three letters from people that like each platform.
Answer it. It's Super Nintendo.
Yeah. This is William Miller in Lawndale, California. He says, when I saw the Super NES, I couldn't believe my eyes. I have to tell you that it was the ugliest design since the Atari 2600 or in television. They need to go back to the drawing board. If I had one, I'd hide it under some sort of cover.
Yeah. Purple and gray.
Ugh! The Japanese Super Family looks hot. Why did they make such drastic and stupid changes?
I didn't think
Wow.
that opinion was around back then. That's
that
really
was-
cool.
The only good thing is the 6-button controller. And what's with the dorky name? Can't they do better than that? Styling aside, I think Nintendo is too late to even compete with the Genesis. Genesis is on their second generation of games, while Nintendo is floundering around with losers that are plagued with slowdown and flicker.
That is a good point.
Genesis has the sports and RPG categories already locked up.
Yeah.
For my money,
That's
I'll take
true.
Streets of Rage over Final Fight,
For that year.
Gyarados over Gradius 3, and Sonic the Hedgehog over Mario 4. The Genesis cruises at over 7 megahertz, while the SNES limps along at 3.5.
What does that even mean?
Add in the CD-ROM to the Genesis, and the SNES is totally lame. There is no comparison.
Wow.
go.
Two things. First of all, as Sam said, I didn't know, so I love the SNES to death. William, completely right that console is ugly. Like
Yeah.
the
It
purple,
is
I've
ugly.
never understood the
Yeah.
American redesign.
It's a little sad rectangle.
Yeah,
It is
with
ugly.
the weird purple rectangle. And I'm also, we always think about those consoles as being contemporaries, right? Like, early 90s, SNES, Genesis. But like
Genesis
when you were,
had 2 years on it.
Yeah, 2 years on it.
Yeah,
That's
crazy.
a long time.
Locked in that talking football. That was a big deal.
That's like not that big of a gap between like the Switch and the PS4.
Sam, do you know this game, Atomic Punk?
I do not know Atomic
Game
Punk,
Boy?
but now I do.
Normally, I wouldn't have noticed this game, but I noticed in the ad it describes him as Bomberman is Atomic Punk's dad. Atomic Punk is Bomberman's kid.
Is that canon?
It's from Hudson Soft.
All right, I need to hold the magazine for a second.
Yeah, there you go.
It also the title of this ad is "The Nuke Kid on the Block."
I see what they did there.
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
So if you ever wondered, Atomic Punk is
All right, so
Bomberman's
but
kid.
it's a more extreme Bomberman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Bomberman for the new generation. Doesn't just throw bombs; he throws bombs with a
with
mohawk.
a rainbow mohawk.
Very edgy.
Yeah, it's true.
Sonic changed everything.
We'll jump to page 22 where they reviewed Ninja Gaiden 3.
Oh boy.
It got 4 8s across the board. And I just wanted to point out here that, in EGM, they have stats for each game. A number of levels, 6, type, action, difficulty, easy.
No.
Ninja Gaiden 3, I don't remember it being an easy
Also, like Ninja
game.
Gaiden 3, there's a letter in there and all these ads about Super Nintendo and Genesis.
Yeah.
But Ninja
There-
Gaiden 3 is like an NES game.
Yeah, they reviewed a bunch of NES games in here.
Yep.
What year was this?
91.
Oh, yeah, 91 was a solid NES year.
24, they review Toe Jam and Earl, and I bring this up, Toe Jam and Earl and Genesis, because I've seen this before, and this is the source of a most unfortunate typo, where they they describe Toe Jam as a master raper.
Yikes. It's supposed to be Master Rapper.
Supposed to be master rapper.
Wow.
But I've noticed that one before. That's a pretty good bad typo.
That's
It's Pac-Man.
we've pointed it out before, but these magazines are littered with errors.
Yeah,
errors
it's
and
really bad.
mistakes. I don't know how
They
that
reviewed Battletoads on Game Boy. They give it 3 8s and a 7, and also its difficulty is listed as easy.
Battletoads?
That's
Battletoads.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't beat Battletoads. Maybe it's easier on Game Boy.
maybe the Game
Also,
Boy's
that's
version?
a really high score.
That is a high score.
For Battletoads?
3 8s and a 7. That averages to like 8.2.
There's also a review of Ninja Gaiden on Game Gear in here. Let's jump to
No, it
page
doesn't.
36.
It averages to lower than 8.
Page 36 is the gaming gossip section here. This is pretty good. Quarterman.
I
it is
love
the-
this.
I was going to say it is Quarterman.
This is
All right.
Quarterman.
All right. Scoops.
All
Scoops
right,
incoming.
so November 1991, he says, "Whoa, Nintendo, did you commit a faux pas, and how? The new Super NES, which yours truly reported last week, was compatible with the Super Famicom, has one slight problem running around inside its computer brain. It won't work on certain televisions made before 1985.
Oh boy.
I don't think that's true.
While this problem is rumored to be corrected when the second batch of Super NES machines appear, several television broadcasts have already leveled their own firepower at the big N because of the incident. And with
I
Sega,
gotta research this. Do you guys know the details about this?
No.
and with Sega absolutely destroying Nintendo with their hyper cool comparison ads, you've got to wonder if Nintendo remembered to check the flight list before taking off. I've never heard of this issue that
Well, I was
televisions
thinking it might be
prior
like
to
they
1985.
don't offer like the pack-in coaxial cable attachment to the old Fork TVs.
You might be right.
But like, is
This
that it?
This, by the way, this is 25 years old. More than that. What year is it now? 26 years old, this magazine is. They were already calling Nintendo the Big N.
Yeah.
It's not, we
I
can't.
thought
do
we
it.
invented that.
We got to retire it.
Yeah.
No more.
What about the Blue Bomber?
Yeah, that's got to go too. No, you never call Nintendo the Big N. You never call Mega Man.
What about the pink puffball?
That's
Well,
fine.
that's fine.
Kirby always gets a pass at Game Scoop.
On page 100, they have a two-page spread of the new Ninja Turtles game for arcades. They call it the second.
It's for arcade for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Their second arcade adventure. Nowhere in these entire 2 pages do they mention Turtles in Time. They never say those words.
It doesn't have the name yet.
Yeah, so they were previewing this game and it wasn't called Turtles in Time yet, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't remember this one hitting the arcades. It was a little bit late
Yeah.
because the first two were so popular.
And they have this whole arcade section in here. On page 102, they previewed Dragon's Lair 2.
Man.
Now remember, this is
I gotta hold the magazine again.
This is 1991. The original Dragon's Lair was what, 84?
82.
82? It took them 9 years to make the sequel to Dragon's Lair?
Yeah, and I remember when this came out in arcades and it was $1. And my parents were like, you can't have $1 to play that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then I finally got $1 to play it, and sure enough, that $1 went really fast.
Yeah.
You died.
I
Died
played
right
at
away.
a miniature golf course in Scottsdale, Arizona. It was great. Wow, this is really cool. I would like to play that game again. Look at that picture of the guy eating dirt.
I know. It's really, really good. On 168 over here, there's a whole advertising section paid for by Montgomery Ward.
Dude, in these old
Is
magazines,
Montgomery Ward around anymore?
I don't think Montgomery Ward is around.
when you were a young child and you poured over these magazines, you spent as much or more. Like the ads contributed to the value of the magazine. You looked at them just as much as you did the actual content.
There's a section dedicated to Super Nintendo, and that's where they reviewed those games. Yeah, they reviewed Super Ghouls and Ghosts, gave it 4 nines.
What?
Wow.
4 nines for Super Ghouls and
The
Ghosts.
worst game in the SNES Classic?
The difficulty is average.
What is
What is a hard game
right.
for these people?
what is Hyperzone?
And
by
then
the
next
way?
to it, they review Populous. The difficulty is hard.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
that
gods send
is
Populous.
true.
You think
you-
so?
Yes.
Sam, do you know Hyperzone?
No.
Tell me that that's not F-Zero.
Yeah. Hyperzone by HAL America does
Oh,
look
interesting.
a lot
It's like a
F-Zero.
knockoff.
Yeah.
Interesting.
On page 172, there's some inconsistency here. So on page 172, they have a 2-page spread on Super Ghouls and Ghosts where the difficulty is listed as hard. So they are,
Okay.
yeah. But look at this. Look at this text here. You can't even read this text. It's red text over an image,
Oh, that's great.
and you have to strain your eyes to even. You can't even make it out.
I liked when the internet used to be that way.
The internet GeoCities did look
Yeah.
like that.
Exactly.
Couple more things to point out. Page 206. Man, where are these pages? Here we go. It's an ad for Neo Geo. It shows a hot dog. It says, if you're still playing Sega, NEC, or Nintendo, you're nothing but a weenie. If you're playing the incredibly high-powered Neo Geo system, you're a real hot dog. And this hot dog has condiments in a bun.
Yeah, it's like a completed hot dog as opposed to just like a raw, lame hot dog. Like the Neo Geo.
We have to go to page 357, 257.
Over 250 pages of gaming
Is this the one with
goodness.
a big paid section?
We go-
section in it. That's not. Did you say that was the Montgomery Ward one?
Yeah, and there's another, there's an Atari Lynx.
Oh, the Lynx one. Yeah.
Paid advertising section in here too.
Yeah.
Telling you how great the Atari Lynx is. On page 257 is the complaint department.
Cool.
The back of the mag.
It's from Brian Ray in Springfield, Nebraska. I think it's Springfield. He says, we ordered a PC Engine and 2 video games from the Ultimate Game Club, which advertises in your magazine. To date, we have not received any of the items ordered. We sent them a check for $400, which they cashed in a week, but have not sent anything. We no longer want any of these items. We just want our money back. We have contacted the Better Business Bureau of Connecticut. They sent the Game Club 3 letters, which have been ignored. You folks should not accept any more advertising from this company unless they are willing to do what their ads say. Please, if you can do anything to help us get our $400 back, we would be very grateful.
$400.
Wow.
PC Engine was a Japanese console, not released here.
Wait. So what's the Game Club?
It was like one of these, mail order game businesses that they advertise in the
Okay.
magazine.
They somehow
and they get
charged-
2 letters here, complain they never received the games that they bought.
Yikes.
EGM responds, we have received numerous complaints about the Ultimate Game Club, and as of the August issue, we have stopped taking their ads because of their questionable business practices, such as these mentioned in these letters. And it goes on to explain the situation.
That's
but
nice.
It's interesting, that's...
Wow.
Yeah, it's not...
EGM's on your side.
They put it in the magazine.
Yeah, it's true. There you go. Highlights from the November 1991 issue of Electronic Gaming Monthly.
Yeah.
That's all the
journalism.
scoops there were.
Totally different now. We've come so far.
Yeah, it's true. And that brings us to Video Game 20 Questions. Philip's first round of Video Game 20 Questions with us. Our suggestion this week comes from Tyler in Orange County, California. Says, been listening for 5 years now and really enjoy listening to you guys every week. Keep up the great work. Let the questioning begin.
Does your character wear a hat?
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Like a type of.
From hard yes to hard no.
No, not a hard no. I said a type of hat.
Could this game be in this issue of Electronic Gaming Monthly?
No. Good question though.
Oh man.
So it's after 1991. Well, specifically.
November.
Can't have a preview in there, so it sounds like it's way after.
Did this game? It has to be yes or no questions, right?
Yes.
Did this game come out on a handheld console?
No.
I'm gonna narrow down the hat question, guys.
Okay. I guess we'll just prepare to lose again.
Well, I mean, the stakes are so high that I know we would all be so disappointed if we did.
The stakes are high because it's Philip's first 20 questions.
That's true. Are you wearing a
Don't
kind?
drag him through them.
Is it like is the headwear that you're wearing functional? Is it for like armor, like military, some sort of something like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, okay, but you said something like that.
It's the second hat qualification.
It's probably a space suit.
Yeah. Could be. Or maybe
I won't ask any more hat questions.
maybe a Viking helmet.
I want to clarify that I
A
did
pith
not
helmet?
say.
Maybe
I
it's
did
just
not-
sunglasses.
I did not say it was for armor. You said it's for armor or military or something like that, and I.
I mean,
Yes, yes to something like
if the yes is it function? Because like
There-
fashion would be the other option.
Okay. Yes.
Function.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Is there multiplayer?
No. No
At all.
multiplayer.
All right.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
Next
5
question.
questions.
Does Cappy count as function or fashion?
I don't want to burn a question, but I'll try. All right. Do you play as a human being?
Yes. Let's say yes.
Mm.
Yes.
I love let's say yes to the answer to the human being question. That's my favorite answer in my favorite game. I'm so happy that just happened.
Do you see your character's skin?
Yes.
I know that sounds really weird. Allow me to clarify.
Is this a special Q4 episode of this game where we
just
forget how to play it and we
No,
lose?
I asked about the skin because I assumed incorrectly that Damon said, let's say yes, because your character is probably wearing some kind of suit. I'm still stuck on the spacesuit thing.
Oh.
I assumed you were wearing some kind of outfit or costume,
Yeah.
some sort of suit that covered your body.
All right.
But it turns out that that's not the case. And so now I don't know
And
why.
we know it's not Parappa the Rappa now because you're a dog.
If you can see your character's skin, I don't know why it's not definitive and clear whether you're a human or not.
Is this game from after the year 2000?
Yes.
Let's get a year.
You guys know it. You're ready to guess.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and guess. You know it.
Did this game come out before the year 2010?
Yes.
Is this a Japanese game?
No. That's 10.
Do we want to guess American made? It probably is. That's also not that helpful. It's only helpful if the answer is no, and then we know it's
I think we need to get the console down.
yeah. So 2000
Or
to
maybe we just go to
2010.
the genre and do our best.
Is this like the GameCube, Xbox, PS2 generation?
Yes.
You.
Yeah.
Is this a console exclusive?
Uh,
Is it only on one console out of those three that he just mentioned?
yes.
Okay. So it could be on PC and stuff, but it's only on one of those.
Yeah. And it's okay. That's actually really good.
Yeah. What if it's Conker's Bad Fur Day, the remake thing?
He's not a human.
How do you know? You can't see in his costume.
He's not. It's not a costume.
You have been staying up late.
Well, now I'm confused. Like, do you think that Conker is a man in a squirrel suit?
No, I'm pretty sure he's a squirrel in a man suit.
Okay. Well, okay. I mean, was this an Xbox exclusive?
Yes.
Oh,
Chronicles of Riddick.
Master Chief.
Mr. Chief?
Well, that's a different man.
Which
Mr. Chief.
Which Master Chief?
I mean, there's only one.
No, I mean which Halo game?
Well, I don't know that it's Halo. Xbox exclusive.
And it's on PC.
You have
It's probably Halo.
You have functional headwear.
Yeah.
Not
He is a human, but if Damon's not deep in Halo lore, you might think that that's
Yeah, he doesn't know. This is perfect. Is this game a sci-fi game?
No.
So
What does that leave us with?
it's not a spacesuit is what it leaves us with. We did it. We know it's not a spacesuit now.
So wait, so an Xbox exclusive, OG,
Might be human.
OG,
See your skin.
OG Xbox exclusive, not made in Japan, although obviously
This is 360. No, it's Xbox.
no Xbox. Goodness gracious, I can't think of that many Xbox exclusives. It's like Crimson Skies,
Psychonaut. No,
Fusion
that was on
Frenzy.
PS2 also.
Blinks,
Yeah, the thing is, Chronicles of Riddick.
Chronicles of Riddick.
This is a stack of games on Destin's desk right now because he's capturing.
Ooh, you're right. He's capturing all those games. But that's like Jade Empire. And
Is this a well-received game?
Yeah. Well, surprisingly, yes. That's 15.
I bet the critics got it.
Damon's helping us so much right now.
You only have
So-
5 left.
Well,
Jade Empire?
there's like Beatdown. That wasn't exclusive.
It wasn't. What did it come to?
I think it came to.
No,
Maybe
no.
it
I'm
was.
just saying if it was only on PC and Xbox.
Maybe. I thought that game came to PS2 as well, but maybe it didn't. I don't know, actually.
Is this a BioWare game?
No.
Oh, boy. Is this a first party game?
No.
Third party Xbox exclusive.
3 questions left.
How many of them were there? There weren't that many.
All right, Philip. It's
know.
your time to shine.
No.
I want to point out that besides the "Are you a human?" question, Blinks the Time Sweeper matches every single one of these because he's got those goggles. But he's not. He's some weird cat,
Okay.
like some sort of varmint of some kind.
So this. Go ahead.
Did this game ever
Wait,
get
whoa, let's discuss questions.
Okay.
Before we
I was
only,
gonna ask-
we only have 2 more questions to ask, and then we have to guess the game.
I was
think
gonna
it-
ask the sequel question.
I think it might
That's a
have
good
got
one.
sequels or a remake, and that's why Damon hemmed and hawed over the exclusives, not because it also came to PC.
I hemmed and hawed over exclusives?
You did.
No, I didn't.
We said, "Is it a console exclusive?" And you went, "Nah."
Yeah, you totally did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't consider that hemming and hawing, but okay.
I think
Yeah.
that is a good one.
Okay. So yeah, did this game get a sequel?
No.
Oh boy. Well, it's not Project Gotham Racing. And it's not first party.
So this is the last question then, right?
No, I
No,
think
we got one
yeah,
more.
yes, you're right. Last question, then have to guess.
Damon hurt his finger.
Are there any other are there like RPGs that are not Japanese that are on
On Xbox. I mean, it's obviously not an RPG console. They really made a push into RPGs for the 360 with like Blue Dragon and stuff, but
Yeah.
not so much on the OG Xbox. I'm trying to think about what I played on that big Duke controller. Well, there's
a
Knights,
lot of
Knights of the Old
BioWare games.
Republic.
Yeah, we already asked about BioWare. That was what was so smart about our question.
Oh, yeah. I thought for sure I'd landed on something with it being KOTOR, but you're right, it can't
Yeah.
be.
Are there
What do
any,
you give me that face?
are there any platformers?
This Blinks the Time Cat.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the head thing is throwing me. The hat thing is helpful and throwing me off.
I think we can safely ignore the two functional.
No, because like if
the
you have
functional headwear.
a functional headwear and an Xbox game, it's not Chronicles of Riddick.
Well, we know it's not sci-fi, right?
Because
I'm worried that I'm worried that I threw you guys off.
he's a big bald dude.
Hold on.
What?
You guys may get off on a technicality. I think I told you the wrong generation.
Is it a 360 game?
You asked if it was an Xbox exclusive.
Well, we asked if it was PS2,
okay,
GameCube.
It's on both consoles, is the problem.
Oh.
It came to both of them. That's the issue.
Maybe
Yeah.
it was released around that time that the Xbox 360 was coming out, and so
It's on both Xbox and Xbox 360.
Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, that would be the
Did
functional.
that come to
headwear.
both? Well, I don't know that the exact game came to both. Did it?
Yes.
Well, it was
Ninja
Ninja Gaiden
Gaiden
and
Black,
Ninja Gaiden Black,
was
yeah.
playable
Black-
only on 360 after
That's-
it was ported from Xbox.
But that was also made in Japan, and this is an American-made game.
I never said it was an American made.
Well, it's not Japanese-made.
Yeah, that was pretty clear Japanese made.
Perfect Dark was a 360
Zero
launch
was a
game.
360 game. Yeah.
I'm trying to think about games that were really, really late OG Xbox, like Call of Duty 3 or whatever it was like a 360 launch game. I think like King Kong,
King Kong was. We already had that one though.
like launch era, like really, really early, really late Xbox and early 360.
They,
This is like my
really
this
interesting,
This is
but-
my spot too. This is This is where Justin likes to be.
Take 2 more questions before you guess the game, because I feel bad that you guys are
Well,
There was
laser focused
Psychonauts.
on it.
Mitchell, can you help us out here?
Okay, good, great.
Can you get a friend? Get Ryan McCaffrey.
Yeah, good point, man. Ryan would be all over this,
All right,
wouldn't
so
he?
2 more questions. Well, how are we gonna narrow this down? Should we get if we can try to go for a genre?
It is an Xbox platform exclusive that came to both Xbox and Xbox 360.
But not first party.
Not first party, not made in Japan. Your character does wear something on
Their head.
their head.
and it might not be a hat. It could
And
be
I-
a helmet, or it could
I'm-
be a.
Pretty sure the character is supposed to be human.
Pretty sure.
And it was reviewed positively, but people don't
I
like
didn't
it now.
say it was reviewed positively.
You
Oh.
did.
I said it was actually received well, which might be a surprise to some
Yeah.
people.
Oh, what does that mean? I don't get what I meant by received well was reviewed positively. So whatever. So it's the opposite of being.
And there were no sequels.
No sequels. And I couldn't tell you what the reviews were for the game, actually.
Okay. No.
I don't know, man.
Should we just ask
Can
if
you?
it's a platform?
And we
Would
know,
that even
and you,
help?
and
We
you
don't know
see
any
your
about that.
character's skin.
Yes.
So that does actually. I mean, I asked that question half as a joke, but that means it's not first person. So it actually couldn't even have been Riddick, although there's mirrors and stuff. I guess if you want to get really weird.
It's not Riddick.
I know, but I'm just saying it's not a first person game.
and we don't know for sure if
Do
it's
you?
an RPG, right?
Do you shoot guns?
No. Not shoot guns.
And it's not a sci-fi game.
Okay.
I have an idea.
All right.
Could it be Voodoo?
I don't. Yeah. I don't think that came to 360. Maybe it did.
What about Oddworld?
Yeah. Yeah. Did Stranger's Wrath come to 360 and original Xbox? I don't remember.
It's not Psychonauts, right?
No, because that's on PS2. I thought of that too.
Yeah.
What is Odd? I don't know anything about Oddworld.
Yeah, it could be Oddworld, Stranger's Wrath, maybe, but you shoot guns in that game. Or you
Is he
shoot
a
something, you shoot a
human, though,
crossbow or something.
Oddworld?
He's a weird monster, man.
Yeah. Was a human.
I don't know, the lore of Oddworld. All I remember is that hat. He does wear a hat.
That's true.
I
You
know,
don't
nailed it.
you don't shoot guns.
Nope.
I don't want to burn my last question on this. I'm trying to figure out the main verb by which you interact like with the game. Like are you jumping on things or is it a slashy game? Is it a jumpy game?
Right. Should we just get if it's a slashy game?
Yeah, is it a slashy game?
No.
Well,
You don't shoot guns or slash.
All right. Well, that's it. We lost 20 questions again.
I give up. If only.
It's a non-violent game.
On Xbox?
I feel
Is
like
it Fusion Frenzy?
I still don't have it.
All right.
your character wears a crown?
Okay.
Crown.
Is it that game with the minion things?
Oh, the Little King story was not on it.
No, not that one.
Overlord?
Overlord.
No, it's not Overlord.
Overlord's really good.
You could only get this game one place.
It's Sneak King.
Yes.
Oh,
If we would have asked if it was licensed.
Yeah, I
it's
almost
licensed.
did. I almost did when you were talking about Riddick.
Sneak King, the Burger King developed game.
Oh boy.
Released
And the
for-
disc played in both Xbox and 360.
yeah.
Which is
Well,
incredible.
That crown, completely non-functional.
It identifies him as royalty.
Ornamentation.
That was a good one. That was a really good one.
It makes him more surprising.
Yeah.
It's not for fashion.
I'm filing. It is for fashion.
No, a king wears his crown just for
Ooh,
fashion?
yeah,
Damon,
Damon has
if
a
you
point.
want a way out, you need to say he wears a whole head. It's not a face.
Yeah.
It's a guy
That's
with
why-
a giant head mask.
But
on it.
it's the Burger King mascot. It's the king. And I thought he was supposed to be like.
Well, no,
a
but
person.
Sam's asking the correct philosophical questions. Are you playing as an actual king? Are you playing as a man wearing a creepy? Are you
an
playing-
oversized head.
Stealth would be the genre. of
Yeah.
that game.
Yes, it would.
And
Sticking with your Halloween selections too.
yeah, even though Halloween is
It's not actually sticking with your.
Sneak King.
they're sneaking around in the dark.
There
to
were
deliver
two
people
more.
delicious Burger King.
There were
hamburgers.
two more of those Burger King games, and
There
that
were
was
three.
the only one that stuck.
Yeah, that's why I wanted you guys to ask if the developer was still in business. I'm like, yes.
Is the developer Burger King?
I don't know who the developer is.
No, they hired Blitz Games to make it. They're not, and Blitz is no longer in business. But the publisher, Burger King, is still in business.
Burger King Games.
Sneak King being good is like a top 10 surprise.
I know
in
that's,
video
that's
game
what I
history.
was talking about. I think people were like legitimately surprised that game was actually pretty fun.
I love that game. It's probably my favorite game.
I can't think of anything I like.
Yeah, I
more.
can't think of. Yeah, I don't know. Can you name the other two Burger King games?
And there was a kart racer one. No, I can't name them.
I can't either. Yeah.
Oh,
Kart
man.
racer.
But I have
and I,
them,
don't
and
remember.
they're great.
I think Sneak King of the three was really the only good one.
Oh, for sure.
But people bought them because they're crazy for achievement points.
Yeah.
Like that's a really cheap way to get
I
whatever.
think IGN gave it a 6 or 7.
I think it's like a 7. Yeah. I think Hillary Goldstein probably reviewed it.
I remember it. Yeah.
In the day, or maybe Eric Brudvig. Who knows? That old Xbox team. Good suggestion.
Did you
Tyler.
expect us to get that one?
I didn't know if you'd get that one or not, but multiple people have suggested this one over the years, and I've wanted to use it for a long time. And
Well, thanks, multiple people.
it was finally time for it was Sneak King's time.
Well, that continues our 4-week losing
Yeah.
streak.
I'll take the blame for this one.
4-week streak. 4-week streak.
If it's an 80s game and we lose, that's on Sam.
Yeah, which we have recently.
Friday the 13th. Yeah, that was pretty good.
No, it was Nightmare.
Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, and Dead Island last week.
Such shame.
Philip, thank you for joining us for your first Game Scoop. How was it? Did you have a
awesome.
good time?
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me.
The most important thing is to have fun.
I did.
We'll turn the cameras off and ask you again.
Yeah. That's true. Everybody, if you're playing Mario out there, just like we are, I hope you're enjoying yourself. Or if you're playing Wolfenstein or Assassin's Creed or Destiny 2, whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Stay
So
safe.
many things to play.
Video games.
Yeah, that's true. That is all the scoops that we have for you this week. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Philip. My name is Damon. This is IGN Game Scoop, and we're out.